The origin of runes. Rune symbolism from Norse mythology I know nothing about. Both my daughter and my son-in-law are into Norse mythology and rune stones, and they play video games that have rune symbolisms and Norse mythological gods and goddesses. And even while I was creating this looking glass, my daughter came and sat next to me and she said, "Have you ever heard of Heimdall? Heimdall?" And I said, "No." And she started telling me about this game that she's playing that has a lot of Norse energies and gods or goddesses or whatever. So anyway, here we are trying to find the source of the truth of the origin of the shapes of rune symbolism and even writings or as a communication. And I want everyone watching to look for themselves some symbolisms and some lettering and some sacred geometrical shapes that you can pull out of what we are seeing here. I always want to continue to encourage myself and others to keep going when it comes to learning and expanding our soul through knowledge. Because I'll have to admit that I get overwhelmed with symbolism and sacred geometry when I do the looking glass because it's just so much. I get Egyptian symbolism, Mayan symbolism, Sumerian symbolism. I get Norse mythology. I get symbols from Armenia and the god Ar. And so I'm having to study all of this because I know nothing. And I love learning and I want to continue learning, but it is overwhelming. So I'm going to try to keep this reading basic for my own sanity, and give you guys who are watching the opportunity to make your own decisions on what you think it is, especially if you have gotten into sacred geometry, sacred numerology, and are into the mystery schools of mastering our energetic body, our rainbow light body, and for those who are looking to ascend and become a master themselves. So although we see lots of faces, notice the geometrical shapes in and around and through and everywhere. Runes always hold 90-degree or very sharp edges. And so when I asked Spirit what these sharp edges actually reflected, I was taken to the plasma of the sun. I was taken to quantum mechanics. I was taken to sacred geometry. And I was taken to secret initiates and the mystery of the net. There was a school in Egypt called the initiates of the net. And this net looks like this. And if you try to draw runes from these sharp angular edges, runes come from initiates of the net. This is the invisible geometrical net that covers the earth. And this study gets very in-depth because it talks about astral travel and being able to shift timelines and move through time, become a time traveler by understanding the net. And the net is connected to the runes and rune symbolism. So when you begin to read the Bible as an allegory, when Jesus cast his net in and said, "You can be fishermen of men," this was a secret code or symbol that he was an initiate of the net, a master of the net. Becoming a master of the net, I feel it seems to hold not only research of ancient knowledge and research of sacred geometry, Pluto studied sacred geometry, and he came up with the 5 Platonic solids. But it's also imagination. Being able to visualize light within and without. Being able to see geometrical shapes inside you and outside of you. The art of imagination is, I think it would be like a 3-year schooling on the art of imagination and how to integrate your imagination into your outer reality and how to awaken your subconscious mind by studying the hidden energy and science of sacred geometry and cymatics. Cymatics is sound. So sacred geometry is the path of educating the soul. It's an integration of your inner realm and your outer realm. You are sacred geometry. Every pain or pleasure comes from a sacred geometrical shape. In biblical scripture, the universe was created from sound. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. Since God is energy, not a person, the Word is energy or frequency or sound. And all geometrical shapes birth from sound or frequency, which is God. There are many, many myths about getting caught in a net after death. When you become an initiate of the net, you will not get caught in the net. You learn to avoid getting caught in the net. Even Loki considers human beings gold, and he catches you in the net and collects your gold. So we see Odin holding a flame, and he's saying to us that the initiates of the net are carriers of the flame. And there's a lot of ancient symbolisms of carriers of the flame, even in Egyptian hieroglyphs, where these people are riding a net, a snake that looks like a net. And this is people who know how to ride the net, the secret invisible net of the earth. And here we see a carrier of the flame, and the flame is being held in a vortex. Now, if you look at the looking glass around 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, you could see this vortex. And so there's something about the vortex. And then if you really use your imagination, you can see Odin here holding a secret doorway open. And this secret doorway has a flame. This is the carrier of the eternal flame. The doorway looks like a dodecahedron. And so this dodecahedron is, if you look really carefully, you can see the dodecahedron net all around this piece. So at 11 o'clock is someone with the water symbol. These are energies of people who are still in the baptism of water. They are in a stage of their life where their spirit is still, young. And then on the other side is another Vesica Pisces. This is the baptism of fire. But when we go through the center, which is like the eye of the needle, we are completely balanced, and we find a secret doorway out of the trap of the net. So I do think that rune symbology awakens something within our subconscious mind and helps us to continue our knowledge of ancient quantum mechanics and the mysteries of the net. If you want to sign up for a mystery school about becoming an initiate of the net, go to vesica.org, and there is a class that you can sign up to that helps you to become a master of sacred geometry and the net. And if you really think about it, rune symbolism is within almost everything. Does this symbol look familiar to you?